So, can you over promote your Kickstarter campaign to the point where you will turn off your audience instead of attract a bigger audience? This is kind of what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the concept or the idea of over promotion, because this is something that I hear from a lot of creators, and I know a lot of creators struggle with how to promote their Kickstarter in a way that does what they want it to do, but doesn't get them the negative stuff that they fear. All right. My name's Tyler James. I am the publisher of Comics Tribe. We publish comics, graphic novels, children's books, and even the occasional plush toy, which we have on Kickstarter right now over at xmas.csforcthulhu.com. It's the last day of our launch. I'm also the founder of ComicsLaunchPro, which is a community that is there to help you plan, launch, fund, and fulfill Kickstarter campaigns, get you the support and the training you need to do it at a very high level, and then expand your audience and expand into sales channels even beyond Kickstarter. That's what we're all about inside of Comics Launch Pro. If you haven't yet joined us inside the free Comics Launchers Facebook group and you want to connect with more successful comic book creator crowdfunders, I encourage you to join our free group. Over 300 creators in there, comicslaunch.com/group. But this is a concept that sort of came up from the Comics Launchers group, and something that I wanted to address because I know that this is something that a lot of creators struggle with. How do you get the right amount of over promotion, or the right amount of promotion on Kickstarter, but not be over promotional, is something that they want to hear. Creators are worried that they'll wear out their audience if they promote their Kickstarters too hard or too often or in the wrong way. And this is a very, very important for us to address, because the truth is, when you possess two opposing beliefs, you will always be internally at war with yourself, and you will never get the results that you're looking for. Have you ever driven your car and realized this car it's behaving funny? Like, why? It feels off. It's not going as fast as it should be. Something's beeping, right? And then you realize, oh wait, your wife or someone else, or maybe you put the emergency brake on because of where you were parked before, and you forgot to take it off, right? When you have two opposing beliefs in your head, or desires, or contrasting desires in your head at the same time, and you don't address that, you're not going to get the results you're looking for. It's like driving your car with your emergency brake on. So what are these beliefs? Like, belief number one, that just about every creator I work with, like, they want to have a wildly successful Kickstarter campaign that everyone's talking about, that everyone's backing, that people love, that everyone knows about, to fund their comic or graphic novel, to build their audience, and to level up their career. That's belief number one. That's desire number one. That's what they want. But they also have another belief and another desire, which is that if I promote my comic too much or in the wrong way, then I'm actually going to turn off my fans or my potential fans, and I'm going to hurt my campaign and my career, right? And both of these things are warring back and forth. And if that's ever been you, you can let me know if you're watching this live or watching this on the replay. If you've ever wrestled with this stuff, let me know, and let me know what was going on in your head. But as a result of these two contrasting beliefs, we see a lot of creators, when they are promoting their Kickstarter campaigns, they do it in this way that tries to serve both masters and both beliefs and desires, and actually serves none. You see people posting things like, or sending emails like, hey, everyone, please forgive me for promoting my Kickstarter today. And please let me apologize for making so many posts about my Kickstarter project this month. But if you have a minute and you could, and you're not struggling, and you maybe have a few extra dollars to spare, would it be too much of an inconvenience if maybe you would please consider, right? Like, they get out this whole long preamble, and they don't even get to why their project is so awesome, what's it about, what's great about it, because they're so worried about promoting it in the right way that they actually promote it in a way that is more likely to repel than attract. All right. And so I know a lot of these creators, they think they're being polite, but what they're really actually being is they're being timid, and they're being ineffective at inspiring the support of others. And so what I want to offer to you all is that we should stop asking for permission to promote our stuff, especially if it's on our own platforms. We should also stop apologizing for creating awesome work and letting the world know about it. Like, sitting on your hands for and sitting back because you're afraid you're going to promote too much during your launch is the thing that's holding your launch back. And a lot of times, and you may have had this experience too, you see a creator that puts out that kind of sort of half-hearted or timid promotional post for their Kickstarter, or they apologize for like promoting their campaign so hard after the campaign is over, and you think, I didn't even know that creator had a campaign live. Why are they apologizing for it? They should be apologizing because they didn't promote it hard enough, because I'm in their audience and I didn't even know it was going on. And the truth is, like, you're always going to think you're being super promotional or over promotional during a launch, because you are, to you and to compared to what you usually do, compared to the kind of promotion that you do during a non-launch month. You're probably going 500, 600, 1,000% more promotional posts during a launch than you usually do. So you're going to feel like you're being overly promotional. But the truth is, literally the only person who sees every single promotional piece of content that you create is you. Most people, even your biggest fans out there, they're going to see less than 10% of the stuff that you put out, and probably actually a lot less depending upon what channels you're promoting on, right? Latest stats, if you're promoting on Kickstarter or on Facebook, or you're promoting on Twitter, less than 5% of the people that follow you are going to see it. In some cases, it's less than 2% or 1%, right? And so I want to dive a little bit deeper into the cause of this fear of over promotion. Like, what exactly is it that we're afraid of? Because I know some creators tell me that they're afraid that, like, they're going to turn off their fans or lose their followers if they're seen as promoting too hard. And guess what? They're right. You may lose followers. You may lose people who are in your audience that will unsubscribe from your lists, or say, let's slow down the number of posts that this person is showing me. You may do that. In fact, if you're doing it right, you should lose those people. During the biggest crowdfunding launch that I ever did, one that in total did over $100,000 in crowdfunding, every single email I sent to the big list that I built up for that resulted in between 25 and 40 unsubscribers. Every single email I sent lost 25 to 40 people that just said, all right, I'm done with this guy. I'm done with this brand. Like, don't want it, right? Now, that amounted to about 0.2% of the overall list, which is well within industry norms. It's lower than industry norms for unsubscribe rates. Now, was I heartbroken about that many people jumping ship? Did that break my heart? No, absolutely not. Because while 25 to 40 people jumped ship, just about every email that I sent during that launch resulted in $1,000 or more in funding from the people that did want to see what we were offering during that launch and jumped over and backed the campaign. And so it's really, again, comes back to that fear of being judged that often holds us back from promoting hard or promoting often enough. But again, that's like fearing the sun is going to set. Like, it's a pointless fear. We're all being judged every day, no matter what we do. Like, again, you guys got to be like, Tyler, this advice might be true, but go get a haircut, put on a mask, go see your barber. I'm being judged, right? I'm sure of that, right? But again, this idea that if we promote too much, people are going to think negatively of us or going to be angry with us. Yeah, some people might, but are most people? No. Most people aren't even going to see the promotional thing that we put out, right? And of the people that do, some are going to scroll right by it and not pay attention. Some are going to be angry and leave or cancel or bail. And some are going to be like, That's right. That thing is going on right now. Thanks for the reminder, Tyler. Blink, click, back, and your campaign goes up. And this idea that we as independent creators without massive trust funds and marketing budgets and promotional arms and our own press secretaries and PR people, the idea that most of us have the possibility to be overly promotional and to promote too much to the world is kind of silly. Right? You know, you can think about it this way. Like, have you seen a GEICO commercial this week? Have you seen one this month? Have you seen one this year? Have you seen one today? Or heard one today? The answer is probably yes for a lot of us. And in your lifetime, you know, how many GEICO commercials do you think you've seen? Now, also then ask me this: how angry are you at the GEICO lizard? You would think if you could be overly promotional, given that you've probably seen tens of thousands of GEICO impressions or in the backgrounds or commercials or whatever over the course of your lifetime, you would think if you could be too overly promotional, the GEICO lizard would be like the worst thing in the world, right? Is it? No, most people don't really mind it. Now, also, how much do you hate GEICO as a company? Chances are, like, you probably don't have that negative feelings on GEICO, even though they are overly promotional. Truth is, GEICO spends $1.3 billion a year in advertising because they want to be the first company in your mind when you think of insurance. And so if any brand would be in danger of being overly promotional, it should be GEICO. But most people are indifferent or positive, slightly positive to GEICO, the lizard, and all of their other 100 mascots that they have for all their many promotional campaigns. And so I want you to think about that the next time you're like worried, oh, if I send 2 tweets in the next day, is that too much? Because it makes it seem a little silly, right? To be paralyzed with fear that everyone following us is going to suddenly start hating us because we post about our campaigns every single day of a campaign, and we're talking about it a lot, and we're going on podcasts, and we're doing interviews, and we're finding new ways and strategies to talk about our thing during our launch. It makes no sense at all, really, if you think about it. But I know why we get it. It's because we see every darn thing. But you look at like some of the biggest blockbusters of all time, right? You know, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Whatever you think of it, it was done by some of the best people in Hollywood. It had great actors, great people behind it. Cost $240 million in 2 years plus to make that movie. But then they spent another $240 million or more to promote the thing, and that's the biggest IP of all time. And again, they do that because just making a thing isn't enough. You have to get the word out. And that did not adversely affect the performance of that launch. Nobody didn't go see Star Wars because they knew about it too much, right? And so, again, like this fear, this uneasiness that a lot of us have regarding our promoting our work, it's really natural. I mean, I definitely felt it from my own work. And one of the best things that ever happened to me from this regard was the chance to work with some creators in a collaborative fashion on something that wasn't 100% my own idea. Because when something's 100% your own idea and it's 100% on you, we tend to emotionally internalize it in a way that we don't when we're working on a team or when we're working for someone else, or we are just saying, hey, my role is awareness. Like, right, like for this thing, I had the idea, I think, to actually go and pull the trigger on this product, but the design is another creator. The idea for the whole brand, another creator. My job as publisher and sort of CEO and brand manager of this, my job is to make sure that everyone in the world who would possibly be interested in this knows that this thing exists. That's it. That's my job. And so I'm not emotionally attached to how people's reaction to it so much as let me get it in front of enough of the right people. And just by being able to detach a little bit from the results by being able to just, hey, my role here during a launch is marketer. My role is getting the word out, is making sure that enough of the right people know about my thing, and not being timid because a few people that are going to hit it. And we get a lot of hate for that brand, right? But we get way more love. And so I'm not afraid of the hate. And if I was afraid of the hate, then this brand would have ended years ago. It wouldn't be on our 5th printing for one of our books and in multiple different foreign languages, and a part of hundreds and hundreds of families' holiday traditions, right? Like it's a great thing, but we had to get over that fear of being overly promotional in order to make that result happen. Thomas says he went through this exact thing during his current launch. Yeah, Thomas, this happens, and especially if it's your first launch, man, but you push through it. Darren says this is so on point for him right now. Darren, man, I'm glad you're hearing it then. And I really appreciate you just sharing that, because this is, we're talking about this because this is real. And honestly, it's costing creators it's holding creators back from the launch that they're actually trying to get. And so, one of the things that I want you to do is, when you're thinking about doing something, like, feel what that feeling is, and also understand that a lot of times that indicator, that discomfort, is actually a sign that this is the direction you need to go. Lean into that discomfort, face the fear of over promotion or promotion, and do it anyway, and do it with confidence that it's possible, that it's impossible for you to actually over promote a Kickstarter launch on your own channels. I'm good at promotion, but sometimes I will look at the total number of people that have hit my Kickstarter campaign, and then I just say, all right, I've had 6,000 people hit this campaign during this launch, right? There's just 9 billion people in the world. I need to triple down on promotion, right? I need to do a lot more, because there's a lot more people than 6,000 people in the world that would like my stuff. And the same goes for you and all of your stuff. Now, this is not to say that, so within your own channels, your email list, which you should be building, one or more social channels, which you should be active on, the places where you can show up or cross promote with creators and the networks that you've been building. You should be showing up there. But this is not to say that it isn't impossible for you to be too promotional in other places, because some places have rules. And so I see this happen a lot. Like, creators like, all right, Tyler says I can't be overly promotional. Great. I'm going to post a link to my project, and that's it, in the 500 groups that I just joined last week on Facebook. Well, guess what? Creators who post the same exact spammy message in 24 or 200 Facebook groups that they spend no time in other than to promote their Kickstarter launches a couple times a year, like, they are usually doing that in violation of the rules or the spirit of the group that they run in. And those creators often get put in what's called Facebook jail, where your privileges get suspended. And so that's a different story, right? That's sort of being a carnival barker in a place that you weren't invited to speak, or you weren't invited to speak in that context. But when it comes to promoting to your own people or through your own resources, I say beat that drum. And so, this happened in a private mastermind group I had last year, where there's a creator. He was in the middle of his Kickstarter campaign, and it was slowed down a little bit. Had a great start, going well, good traction, slowed down a little bit. And he was sort of a little upset about this. And he's like, my campaign got off to a great start. It funded in the first few days, but man, things have really slowed down a bit. And so, the group, sort of, one of the things we do in mastermind groups is we ask questions first before we start throwing out ideas. And so one of the questions is like, okay, well, what did you do that contributed to your great launch and getting out of the gate so awesome? And the creator's like, well, I really promoted the first couple of days of my launch, and I sent my emails. I was doing a lot of social. I was doing outreach to some of the people that said they were interested in promoting for me. And then the question was, well, what have you done over the past few days? And then the creator said, well, I decided to stop promoting because I didn't want my audience to get sick of hearing from me. And so, of course, we turn it back on him and say, all right, let me get this straight. You launched your Kickstarter campaign, promoted the hell out of it, had a strong launch, got fully funded, but then you stopped promoting and the funding stopped coming in. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying? And the creator's like, well, more or less, yeah. And so then it came back to, like, if you were being hired by someone else to run their campaign and your only goal was having the best launch ever, like, what would you be doing right now to get things moving? And the creator's like, well, obviously keep promoting. And that's the game. Like, far too many creators are worried that they can hurt their project by promoting it too much, when the reality is, you know, that is what is hurting your project by not actually getting the word out about it. Another thing that I always am surprised at and shocked at, and it doesn't make sense to me, but you will see it if you're tracking this thing. My Comics Launch Pro students see this when they track it, and I see it with all my launches. Is I will usually, and I'll do it tonight, around 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. I will send a last call email to my list. Usually, it's either the second or the third email that I've sent to my list on the last day. So, only on my last days of Kickstarters, and sometimes on my first days of Kickstarters, depending upon what's going on with the launch, I might send up to 3 emails to my list. And you might be thinking, 3 emails? Tyler, I don't send 3 emails in a month. I haven't sent 3 emails this year to my email list. Whoa, that's going to really, that's overly promotional. Like, you might think that. And I'm, there's part of me that one day would think that too. Guess what, though? The open rate and the click rate on that last call email, the one that is usually the 10th or 20th email message, plus all of the other promotional ways that we promote the thing, that people on that list have seen, throughout the thing, that last email, the one that comes with just a couple hours to go, is often one of the most opened and often one of the ones with the highest click rate of the entire campaign. The reason for this is because simply people psychologically usually fall into one of 2 buckets. They're either early birds or last minute Larrys, or whatever you want to call them. And a big portion of people will just literally wait till the last minute to take action. And so giving them that opportunity with that one last email blast often, is the difference between hundreds or some cases thousands of dollars when you're in the midst of a Kickstarter launch. And so, again, if you're thinking that promotion is bad, or promotion is not going to make a difference, or that your work should just be judged and succeed or fail on its merit alone, and that you shouldn't have to promote it to succeed, unfortunately, that's just not the way any real business works. It's not the way any in the world works. And it's certainly not how Kickstarter works. And so I want you to operate from the mentality going into your launch that no matter how much promotion you do, 99.9% of the world who would love your project still probably hasn't seen it yet and doesn't know about it yet. And so it's up to you to still, throughout the campaign, as much as you can, and maybe even a little bit more, it's always a good opportunity to push yourself, is to get the word out about your campaign and do it in a way that brings you joy and brings your fans joy, and they will thank you for that. And so it is absolutely a myth that you can launch, you can't, it's absolutely a myth that you will totally wear out your audience if you promote too much. The reality is, in today's media saturated environment, it is far more likely that your audience is going to miss out on your promotion and your campaign than you'll wear them out with your current marketing might. All right. And so I hope that helps. If you like this stuff, if you like talking about Kickstarter, if you like interacting with other Kickstarter creators, I want to encourage you, join us over in the free Comics Launchers Facebook group. That's at comicslaunch.com/group. I'd love to spend some time with you in that group that I manage. It's absolutely free. Just go request to join it. And I want you to get back out there, especially if you're in the midst of a launch, and promote your stuff. And if you're not in the midst of a launch, but you have stuff to promote, well, now's the time to promote that too as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see what you launch next.